I think we're recording. Yes. Okay. Welcome to our March State TA Day call. This is a pretty packed one. I know we always say that, but hope everyone's having a good first few days of spring. Feels like it a little bit in the afternoon, at least. So to begin, I have a couple of things here on the agenda. First off, I want to make everyone aware that we have officially moved. We meaning the CDC has officially moved. We are no longer in the Department of Human Services building. We are now at the CDPHE building, 710 South Ash. So I'm putting our address change correspondence in the chat there if you want to just save that if you're ever looking to write us some snail mail. But we have moved. We have new office hours there as well. If you need licensing, they're going to be available from 9 to 2, Monday through Friday, or the background investigation unit. So we've moved. We've started meeting in our new location. We're in the office a couple times a month and working on scheduling some more regular time that we can all meet there. So just want to make sure everyone is aware. Don't show up at CDHS looking for us. Not that you were before, but just wanted to make everyone aware of that. Christy, you want to talk to us real quick about the stabilization survey?
Yeah, thanks so much. Hi, everyone. Christy Ressler here, Stabilization Grants Manager. Lots and lots of programs have been receiving this stabilization grant, and programs are rotating off the program after receiving their 9 payments. And we've got a survey. It is sent to the providers in their wrap-up email once they've received their last payment, but I wanted to give you the link. So I'm going to put that in the chat, and just wanted you to encourage providers to fill out the survey. I'm the one that's receiving all of the responses, and this will really inform grants in the future, how we manage them. We've gotten a lot of great ideas from providers, and this is just a great opportunity for them to share how they've experienced the grant. And we're also capturing success stories, which has been really encouraging. And like I said, that will inform work in the future. So thanks so much.
Thank you, Christy. And that grant or that link is on the agenda, as all of our presentation links will be. Couple other updates we wanted to give. Number one, if you happen to be contacted by the media, as it does happen, we just ask that you let us know. Just fill us in and let us know what's going on. You know, we won't necessarily want to have any sort of input in that, but it's just nice to know if there is a media contact to fill us in. And then finally, I wanted to just talk through, there have been a couple emails that have gone out to councils regarding, oh, thanks, Diane. I'll have Lilith follow up with you on that. So there have been a couple emails that have gone out regarding updates to the budget that we're gonna need in order to submit contracts for this fiscal year. The first email that went out was regarding ARP funding. So that's those 2 funding sources, the availability of care funding that was kind of grouped into CCR&R, and then the Family Child Care Navigator funding. So those 2 funding streams, we actually need to budget through September of 2024. So you should have received an email. If not, reach out to your QRIS coordinator and let us know. You should have received an email saying that we're looking for 3 months budget for those 2 funding streams, and then it included the budget template and just a few amounts. This is the end so far of the ARP funding. It will cut off at that point, September 30th, 2024. So we're looking for ways to extend that, or ways to make sure that we have enough funding to hold at least one position for your council, to complete those duties going forward, even after that September date. But we don't have the final word on that. Yes, on that yet. It's so for this budget, it's July 1st, 2024 to September 30th, 2024. So it's just those 3 months. Sorry, there's a little typo there.
Yep, my bad.
All good. So yeah, it's just 3 months, those two funding streams. You should have gotten an updated spreadsheet that had that on it. And then the second budget email that you got is one of those mixes of good news and bad news. Starting with the bad news is that we will need a budget revision to the budget you submitted for our next fiscal year. Good news, the reason being so is we have added more funding to Colorado Shines base funding. So everybody has some more funding there. We're hoping that helps continue with all the great work that we've been doing this year. I know it's something we've been wanting for a while. We were able to pull it out of the GAE and repurpose it this way, and I'm really, really excited about that. Does anyone have any questions on the budget updates that we've asked for? All right, cool. Well, if you do, you know how to get a hold of us, and we appreciate your patience. It seems like every year we do contracts, we always think it's smooth sailing, and then right after everything's turned in, we ask for more stuff. So we appreciate your patience. I promise we don't like this process either, but we're working with the information as we have it. All right. Cool. Those are all my updates. But next up here, I'm just going to do a little demo. So Dorothy, our Salesforce admin, created a QI Navigator role for me in Salesforce to walk you through this. So I'm just going to walk everybody through, in case you don't know, how to assign yourself as a QI Navigator in Salesforce for a program that you are coaching, or that's going through a rating, that's engaged, how to do that. So when you log in, you should get to this home screen. This is where all the chatter is, and chatter, for those of you who don't know, is where we post like important updates. If there are any glitches going on with Salesforce, if there's any sort of weird stuff or important stuff, we post about it here. So it's always a good idea to log in every now and then to check out the chatter and see what's going on. So when I'm in here, I can search for my account up here. Since I already have it recently pulled up, I'll just go to my accounts. This is my account name. And then you go to the QRIS application. It's going to be the active application if there's more than one. The archived applications live here too if they've already gone through the rating or gotten to a level 2. So I'm going to go to this active application. And this is where you can assign yourself as QI Navigator. Just go to this little edit button. And then you search for yourself. I'm right here. And you save that. It should autofill your email there. And so now I'll be updated when this program submits an application, when their documentation window opens. Basically, whenever they're going through any step of that rating process, I will now be updated because I am now linked to the program as the QI Navigator. So we just wanted to make sure everyone knew this process. It is really helpful if you're juggling multiple programs and if you want to stay in the loop. So just wanted to make sure folks knew about that. The other thing I wanted to make everyone aware of is if you do not log into Salesforce, every 90 days, then your account will become disabled, which isn't a huge deal. We just have to reactivate it. But it's always a good practice to be logging in decently, every so often, just to make sure that you stay an active user. So that is that. Any questions on any of those items?
Charlie, how do we go and reactivate our account if it got deactivated?
Just reach out to Dorothy if you have her email, or if not, reach out to your QRIS coordinator. We'll make sure you can get back in. And if you forget your password or anything like that, you should be able to reach out for us to reset that just from the Colorado Shines Help Desk. So you are now our person when individuals are rating. I'm happy to be that. I mean, usually you can reach out to your QRIS coordinator, but I have kind of taken the lead on communicating with our ratings team at Clayton, and so yeah, if you're not sure who to go to when there are rating issues, I'm a good first stop along the way. Can we assign more than one QI navigator to a provider? I don't believe we were able to do that at this point. So I would select a lead to fill in there. Any other questions? All right, cool. Megan, are you on?
Yes.
You're there. You just appeared in a flash of light. All right, cool. Thanks for presenting.
Yes, I'm going to share my screen if that's all right. Okay. All right, so hello everyone. My name is Megan LeClaire. I am one of the State Systems Building Initiatives Unit Program Access Coordinators at the department. And I am here today to provide an update from our unit. So first we have the Preschool Development Grant, Small Business Development Center, Childcare Business Training updates. So there are some exciting things happening. At the Boulder SBDC, there's a 3-week financial seminar in Spanish happening. So that's coming up. And in Pikes Peak SBDC, there's another training happening, but the one, and I'm going to drop links for all these, so don't worry. But the Southern Colorado Early Childhood Business Conference is coming up April 22nd. This is in person in Pueblo. It's only $20, and participants will receive 5 hours of PDIS credit when attending all of the sessions. So please, please, please share this where you think would be most necessary. And I'm going to put all of these links in the chat for registering. And also there's the Growing Forward website link there, the stimulus website there that you can always check for information on future trainings. Okay, and then we are having, oh, here we go. Kind of similarly, very fun topic for updated Early Childhood Council billing guidance. So I will drop a link to this document for the 2023 guidance for councils for coaching of small business development centers. And also, since switching to stimulus funding, we don't have as much flexibility with the funding. So there will be some more thorough follow-up after the prior approval forms are submitted. So there's some notes on here for you all if this applies to you, but I'm going to drop these links, and I'll share the slide deck after this as well. Oh, thanks, Andrew, for dropping that in the chat. Okay. If you have questions about this, let me know, and I can also forward them to Marika. She's out today, so I'm covering this portion. But okay, so the next topic is the local organizational capacity updates. So last month we were here telling you about some upcoming opportunities with the new PDG planning grant. So one of those is the virtual training series that's going to be happening this year. And so the purpose of this, as you can see here, is to offer shared training to local organizations. So that could look like councils, family resource centers, LCOs, and other local entities and nonprofits. And so we sent a survey out. So thank you if you were some of the folks that participated in the survey. We received 53 responses, which is awesome. So these will be a series of training with 2 to 4 sessions per series topic and a cohort of about 30 participants per series. So as you can see on the slide here, you can note that there were 3 topics that we selected as the most popular from the survey responses. So guiding and communicating organizational work, intro to systems building, and meaningful justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion work. And so you can see all of the topics after all of the subtopics, after the topics there are some ideas for sessions within the training. So we are now at the process where we're going to be looking for subject matter experts in these areas. And so we wanted to reach out to you all to ask, do you know someone in one of these categories that is a subject matter expert that maybe you've worked with before, or you've attended a training with them before and you really liked them and you would recommend them again? Please, if you do have suggestions for one of these topics here, if they relate, please send me or Marika an email, and I'm going to share our emails in a moment. So that's the first part, and then we're going to be asking for subject matter experts for the regional convenings as well. So there's 2 parts to this. There's virtual trainings that are going to happen, and then there's also going to be these in-person regional convenings. And so as I mentioned last month, or last time we met, these in-person regional convenings are going to be an opportunity for these local organizations, again, to receive shared professional development and engage in some facilitated planning. So they're going to be 2-day events, and the 4 regions are expected to be Greeley, Pueblo, Glenwood Springs, and Durango. And the topic that rose to the top from the survey for the regional convenings was supporting families with infants and toddlers. And this is going to be really comprehensive. So this is going to be in the context of both family strengthening and early childhood education workforce focused. So it's going to be not just supporting families, but it's going to be also how can we support providers and educators to then support families with infants and toddlers. So going to be a comprehensive approach to that, but that's really exciting. We were excited to see this rise to the top because that's kind of like not offered a lot, I would say. There's not a lot in that space that's being offered. So yes, Christine, totally agree with that sentiment. So again, if you know a subject matter expert that is really great at professional development and thinking strategically about supporting families with infants and toddlers, please send your suggestions to us on the SSBI team. And I'm going to drop emails for both me and Marika in the chat. And we really appreciate it. So, okay, the next steps for this, if you have recommendations, if you could please send us anybody you know or anything you can think of by Monday, March 27th. And next, we're going to be contracting with these subject matter experts for both the virtual trainings and the regional convenings. And then we'll get to planning and implementing. And this will be really exciting to have some more information for you all for these upcoming opportunities later this year. So thank you in advance. I just have one more quick update that I promise is quick.
We're ahead of time, so no rush.
Okay, woohoo! And I'm seeing Stacy, you're seeing a comment. Assuming you'll be contacting the councils to help coordinate some of these things, so let us know how we can help with the Glenwood series. Yes, definitely. We we want to find a subject matter expert just because of contracting and how that needs to happen sooner rather than later. And then, yeah, for sure, we'll be keeping councils in the loop. So thanks for adding that in there, Stacy. Okay, so the last thing, the preschool development grant, Birth to Five planning grant, renewal grant reports are now available. So I'm going to drop links again, but here we have family survey results, early childhood workforce survey results, and partner evaluation. So these are pretty comprehensive reports. They are long, but we are assessing them internally as a team to identify necessary follow-up and just make sure that everything that's been identified from this evaluation that Butler helped us with and all of the really rich data that came out of this process is being addressed. So we are in the process of doing that, but they are very interesting, and I hope that you all will take a look at them if you have time. They're very long, but they're great. They're chock full of really good info. So I'm going to send, I'm going to put links in the chat for these. So that is all I have. And yep, there's our team. So any questions, please send us an email. Christine, sounds like a fun year for local EQIT trainers and infant toddler specialists and all the training participants too. Yes. Yes. Lots of fun things happening. Okay, any questions? I'm going to drop some final things here for you all.
Yeah, if anyone's looking for some good spring break reading, I think those reports would do it.
Exactly.
You know, a lot of work went into creating those. So, and again, I'm just always so impressed with how your small team is doing so much at all points. You guys are small yet mighty, and we really appreciate your work and your collaboration with us.
Thanks, Charlie. We don't do it alone. We have a lot of help from everyone else, but thank you for that. Good to see you all.
You too. Thanks, Megan. And yeah, send me your slide deck when you get a chance, and I'll pop it in the agenda. All right. Alyssa, I know you're there. There you are.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Alyssa Pappas. I'm the Employer-Based Child Care Grant Program Manager, and I have some updates for you to share today. First of all, the intent to award notifications for our last round of RFAs did go out earlier today. So if you know an employer who applied, or if you applied, make sure that you're checking for those. But if you missed the most recent round of the employer-based child care grant application, I wanted to make sure that you were all aware of the design lab. That is, the application is closing tomorrow, and it's our next opportunity for any non-child care employers who are interested in providing childcare to get involved. So a little bit of background, the CDC is partnering with EPIC, executives partnering to invest in children to provide this design lab, which is an opportunity for employers to really gain the background knowledge that they need to plan an on-site or near-site child care center for their employees. What the design lab looks like is that it's 8 hands-on learning sessions that are provided mostly bi-weekly, with a little bit of flexibility for some holidays throughout the summer. And then there are 4 individual technical assistance sessions provided for each employer as well. The topics that are covered include feasibility of providing a child care center to employees, the planning, including planning a budget, planning for the next employer-based child care grant application that will open at the end of the summer. And then the third major topic is implementation. So thinking ongoing operation, licensing, workforce, again, that operations budget as well. So the application for this design lab closes tomorrow at 5 p.m. Hopefully you've all received some information from Epic about this, but again, I wanted to make sure you all knew and had a chance to ask any last minute questions. One of the main questions we've been getting is who qualifies. So similarly to the grant itself, applicants must be non-child care employers. So current centers or current child care centers are not able to apply. However, a K-12 school district could apply because they're not currently providing childcare. And any like government agencies, for-profit entities or nonprofit entities, again, as long as they're not already providing childcare. And another question that I have gotten is there's no cost for participating. The expectation is that each participant has approximately 3 hours per week to complete any homework or next steps that have come out of each design lab session. And I will provide the link with all the information in the chat. It's also already in the agenda, as well as the direct link to the application and the email address if you have any questions after this session. But for right now, I'm going to pause and see if anyone has any questions about the Design Lab application or what it is. There is the link in the chat. Yes, Jennifer.
So I think you answered a lot of the questions by providers, non-current providers have asked. Is there something in writing where we can share that information to, or will there be something about, I think more I call it less jargon and more just simple of this is what this funding can be used for, because it's a new audience, so you say, and some of the stuff so whatever, that should be helpful.
Yep, absolutely. I think the most helpful resource I can provide right now that's already been designed is the webinar slide deck that was hosted by Epic last week. So I will, that is linked on that webpage. And then if you have any additional questions, please direct providers to send an email to the Epic team. And I'm also available to you all as councils if you have any questions. Any other questions?
Alyssa, so I understand that they complete the application and submit that to you. When is the interviews taking place? And is that for every applicant, or is it for those specifically who you've selected?
Every applicant should get an interview. The Epic team wants to make sure that even if an applicant, since they are new to childcare, has a hard time putting their vision into writing, they have a chance to do that verbally as well. And so those will be happening April 4th to the 6th. Notification of participation will go out by April 10th. And then the first session is going to happen on April 12th, and that will kick off the design lab that will go until August. Okay, and I will be on until the end of the call. So if you think of anything else, feel free to drop a chat in, or I will post my email as well. But thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Alyssa. All right. Do we have Debbie and Teresa on?
Yep, we're here, Charlie.
Yeah, we're here.
You guys good to go?
Yeah.
All righty.
And I'm going to present my screen.
Okay, can everybody see?
Not yet, Teresa.
Oh. All right. Huh. No.
If you're still having issues, you can send me the link and I can
I think
share my
there we go. I know my internet has been kind of funky. Sure. There we go.
It's coming on now, Teresa.
Is it? There we go. Oops. Selection. There we go. So thank you everybody for letting us join your meeting today. Debbie and I are going to talk about adverse actions and strength-based licensing. So what is adverse licensing action? Adverse licensing action is a legal process where the department recommends enforcement action to be taken against a licensee or a license holder or an applicant or someone who has applied for a license. Such actions may include denial of that original or renewal application, probation, revocation, summary suspension, fines, injunction, which that is just for unlicensed childcare, a warning letter, a settlement agreement, and there are times where a license has been recommended for adverse licensing action, but we don't take any action at that time. And so I wanted to go over what is a summary suspension of a child care license. And a summary suspension is an emergency action when the department has reason to believe that there is imminent danger to children. That includes a confirmation of a serious child abuse, which is physical, sexual, or emotional abuse, or neglect, a summons or arrest for child abuse, an unexplained serious injury or serious injury due to an act of neglect or a fatality of a child. That doesn't include necessarily a death from natural causes or a sudden unexpected infant death. A license may be summary suspended if that licensee refuses an inspection or refuses to cooperate with an inspection or an investigation. And what is the process for a summary suspension? Once the department has written notification of imminent danger to children, the file is prepared and then submitted to our Colorado Attorney General's office, who then prepares the suspension order. This is typically given, this written notification is given by an assigned county worker or law enforcement. However, if the department has reason to believe that there's imminent danger to children, we can take immediate action if necessary. The order is then signed by the Colorado Department Early Childhood Director or Deputy Director, and then is returned to the Colorado Attorney General's office. And then a process server will hand deliver that suspension to the child care facility. And how long may the child care facility remain open after the suspension has been served? Once that summary suspension has been served, the facility must immediately call parents and guardians and close. The assigned licensing specialist then will collaborate with the local early childhood councils and the child care assistance team to assist families with alternate childcare. And then after the suspension, the child care facility will have the opportunity for an expedited hearing through the Colorado Office of Administrative Courts. And then an expedited hearing can typically occurs within 3 months of the suspension. And a notice of charges will be sent out to the facility for their response. And the notice then will be sent to the Office of Administrative Courts to then schedule a hearing on the administrative law judge's docket. And then both the department and the child care facility will have the opportunity to have witnesses if there is a hearing. And then after the hearing, the administrative law judge will review all transcripts and documents entered into evidence during the hearing and then makes an initial decision. The administrative law judge does have 60 days in order to have the opportunity to thoroughly review all of that documentation. And then after that initial decision has been made, both sides will have the opportunity to file exceptions. And then the department's Office of Appeals then will review that administrative laws judge's decision to determine if an appropriate decision was made, and then issue a final agency decision. This final agency decision then will be effective within 3 days after that, after the date issued. And the child care facility may not be in operation or care for any children unless the license is reinstated as a permanent or probationary license. And then any questions? And we can go on to Debbie's presentation.
Thanks, Teresa. So I wanted to just come on and talk a little bit about this new strength-based licensing approach. I've gotten some emails from councils who have received the communication that I sent out. So I thought we'd just do a really quick kind of overview of what this is about and the criteria that we'll be using. So this new approach, why are we going to a strength-based licensing approach? We kind of have two overarching goals with this. We truly want to partner with providers. We want providers to feel like we are a resource and that we're a support, and that we're not just deficit-based, right? So licensing has always, our main goal is to identify health and safety standards that are not being met so that we can all protect children's health and safety. And I think everybody has that shared goal. So in order to do that, obviously everybody knows we cite violations. But what we have never really been able to do before was look at things that the program are doing that are also associated with some of those quality indicators. So majority of our programs are at least at a level 2 now. And so this whole idea kind of started with looking at the level 2 checklist, which, as all of you know, the level 2 checklist is something that it's self-reported that the facility should be doing. And it's based upon the environment rating scales. So that's the ITERS, the infant toddler, the FICRS, which is a family child care home one, and then the ECHRS, which is our preschool. So what we decided to do is take those indicators and then build upon those in order to point out some of the things that we're doing that programs have already implemented that are based on strengths. We also hope that, yeah, thank you, Christine. We also hope that that increases the awareness of the quality indicators used in the environment rating scale, and that would hopefully encourage more and more providers to go through the Colorado Shines process. What we see is a lot of times we do have some level 1 programs that aren't real familiar with Colorado Shines. And some of the things that they may be doing, they may have no idea that those are associated with quality. So we're hoping by pointing those things out that'll encourage providers to reach out to their councils, to reach out to their navigators, to get more information on Colorado Shines. So again, with the help of Charlie and Karen, we utilize the environment rating scale, and we're asking our licensing specialists to start off with to identify 4 to 5 strengths that are associated with the ERS indicators. And again, we built from that level 2 program assessment. We are putting kind of an additional focus on the learning environments, the display, teachers' language, and obviously interactions with children. So I think in the next couple slides, I have kind of the checklist that Charlie helped me develop. Oh, actually, this is our technical assistance guide. So after every supervisory visit, we're rolling out with this at their annual supervisory visit, not so much at a complaint visit or injury, or certainly what Teresa described as something like on a probationary visit. That's not necessarily the time that we're going to roll out with the strength-based licensing approach, but we're going to start with our supervisor visit. So during that visit, we will give all programs now what's called the technical assistance guide. And what this does is give an overview of some of the topics that we discussed. And then on the next page, Teresa, we have just kind of a text box where we can write additional technical assistance that we had given if we want to expand on that. And then the next page is our strength-based licensing approach. And at the top of that, we're going to kind of put a narrative on that explains that these are a few items I observed in your program that are associated with quality. A licensing specialist is not considered a certified coach. We're also not a reliable Colorado Shines rater. And if you're interested in that, pursuing it, we give more information. So it's really important that we let programs know that we are not there to coach. We're not coaches, but we are observers, and we're in those classrooms every day. And so when we see some of these things happening, we really want the opportunity to be able to let directors know and to put it in writing. Sorry, I didn't know if there's a question, or maybe it's just me with a little bit of feedback. And then as we go in to talk to facilities and to talk to providers and family child care home providers, I kind of wrote up just some talking points for our staff to use to try to explain this. So these reports are not available on Colorado Shines, but we will email the report after the visit, and then we'll go over what some of those strengths are that we saw with either the home provider or the director. And I think the next slide talks a little bit about. Yeah, so again, these are based upon the level 2 indicators, but Charlie and I also went through the different environment rating scale tools and added some things that were at the 5 level and at the 7 level, because not every program is still at the level 2. And we want to try to provide authentic observations on indicators that are associated with higher levels when a program is already at a level 3 or a level 4 or a level 5, those higher quality levels. So just like the level 2 indicator, it's based upon the environment and it's based upon interactions that we see. So these are some of the items that we're looking at as we walk through classrooms. Some of these are pretty easy to observe, natural light that can be controlled, cozy areas, soft furnishings. And then we really are trying to put a focus on the language pieces. So we're going to be doing a lot more training with our staff on language strategies. But we're looking at things like 5.1 for language. Staff and providers use specific names and words for people, places, things, and descriptive words during play. Staff explains the meaning of unfamiliar words. I can't see that last one, Teresa, sorry. I think it's basically engaging in conversation throughout the day. Yeah. And then on the next slide, it talks a little bit about interest areas, and I'm not going to go over all these because most of us are really pretty familiar with the environment rating scale. But as you know, our licensing rules already require interest areas, but what we don't require is the amount of materials and the depth of materials that the environment rating scale requires. And it's not just about obviously having those materials, it's about how do teachers use those materials? What are they doing with the kids during free play or work time or, child directed time? Are they facilitating that learning? Are they asking questions? Are they playing with them and trying to expand? So if we hear those kinds of things or we see those things while we're walking through classrooms, that's what we want to point out to teachers, not during, not while they're doing it, but we'll point it out afterwards. So I'm not going to go over all these for the sake of time, but these are the indicators that we're looking for. And again, it's right from the environment rating scale. So we're looking for imaginative play, nature science, math, numbers, music. Those are things that are required in licensing, but we're looking more at what kinds of materials they have, because licensing is not as specific about the types of materials. And then again, we're looking to see, are they interacting with the kids while they're playing with these materials? And what kinds of questions are they asking to facilitate their learning? And then diversity, we were able to put some requirements for diverse types of materials in our licensing rules. But as we all know, the environment rating scale has additional requirements. And so these are some of the things that we're looking for. A little bit more diversity in books and in dramatic play, and really throughout the classroom, which is not required as much in our licensing rule. Then again, like I said, we're really trying to put a focus on interactions. We're looking at things that are as simple as, do the staff appear to enjoy being with the children? In the environment rating scale, this is at the 3 level. If I wrote that scale, I'd probably put it at the 7 level, because I think that's just critical. And we do see all the time wonderful, frequent, positive staff-child interactions with children. And then guidance, we are looking to see, are teachers able to help children solve their problems with one another? Are they facilitating those conversations so kids can learn how to problem solve and look at what kind of guidance strategies they're using with kids? I think that's the last slide. I want to take a second. I saw some comments and I wanted to just kind of look at this really quick. So the main thing that we want to kind of help programs understand is we're just rolling out with this. And so we've asked, as our staff are getting more and more familiar with these indicators, to just identify 4 to 5 strengths. And we want it to be uniform so that every facility feels like they kind of have the same type of strength-based approach. So we don't want some facilities to all of a sudden have 20 indicators that we pointed out that they're meeting, and then other facilities only have about 4. We have a wide variety of staff. Some of them have been coaches, they've been teachers, they've been trainers for early childhood, but then we have some staff that are more child welfare oriented and need a little bit more time and training to get familiar with these. So as we feel more and more comfortable, and based upon the feedback that we're getting from not only our staff, but our providers, we'll hopefully add more and more indicators. We don't want providers to feel like this is something they need to prepare for. We can certainly share those indicators with the councils, but believe me, every single one of them is just right from this book. So if you have, access to the environment rating scales and the level 2 checklist, that's what that is based on. I think we're just about out of time, but I wanted to see if anybody else had any other quick questions for me. I am always interested in your feedback too, so please email me directly if you've had some experiences with it, whether they're positive experiences or some things you think that I should think about as we roll out with this new approach. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Debbie. We're so excited about this collaboration and just looking at licensing in a new way. And I think this is the first step on a long journey of us working together and just kind of changing the way we all view our systems together.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, Charlie. And it's kind of the main thing I wanted to point out is I really think it shifts the lens of our licensing specialists, which most of them have always wanted to be able to do something like this and really have done it verbally quite a bit, but now we have an opportunity to put something in writing. So we're very excited.
And there was a request if they could, if we could send out a copy of the documents for the work being done with pre-licensing or level 1 programs.
Yeah, help me. Let me look at the comment really quick. You can have a copy of the document, especially for work taking time. So Karen, I don't have one document. Can you kind of elaborate on that real quick?
So the document that you showed that related to the indicators from the ERS tools,
Oh, sure.
that would be very helpful in our conversations, whether you're working with programs that are going through pre-licensing or level 1 programs that are brand new that we're working with. That way we can say, you know, these are some of the things that they're looking for, and you're already doing great work in this area. And let's look at this area where perhaps you need a little bit more support, or maybe you need materials that we can support you with.
Yeah. Yeah. And the main thing to help programs kind of understand is these are not required licensing rules, the things that we're evaluating. These are things from quality. And so we got to be really thoughtful about first trying to get them in compliance with licensing, and then kind of work through that quality journey and introducing maybe the environment rating scale. But I'm certainly, we'll send out those level 2 indicators that are already built into the QRIS level 2 rating. Cheers.
All right. Awesome.
Okay. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, Ava, I see you there. You ready to rock?
I'm ready, yeah.
Cool.
Let me present. All right. Are you all seeing that? I am, so okay, cool. So I just had a couple of updates from the EQ initiative to share. So thank you all for submitting your budget requests for next fiscal year. I am needing to do a couple of changes. So because this year our coaching rate is increased to $100 an hour, and our training rate is increased to $5,000 per course. Our asks in general were over by quite a bit. So I had to make some budget reductions across the board for all of the councils. So you probably received an email from me on Monday, but I need to have your budget revisions back to me by tomorrow. So I've gotten a few back, but I need the majority still to come back. I've let you know what your amount is, so you're welcome to make those changes accordingly. I did decrease that by 20% of your coaching hours. So if you wanted to just take out that amount of coaching hours, which I also indicated in your email, you could do it that way to be quick and easy. The other pieces is that I need course plans ideally by May 17th, which is a Friday. I think most of you probably were on this last month, but we're moving our registration from the local level to being sort of housed in PDIS. We're offering a training for that on the 13th of April or the 18th of April. They're both the same trainings, but we'd love for anyone who's going to be involved with registration to attend one of those days. So that's why I need course plans back, because we are needing to move some of that information into PDIS. Mary Heffernan is helping with that. So if you have courses that you think are starting in the fall, please send me your course plans by May 17th so that Mary can start to get that input for everybody. The other piece to that is that any of your EQIT trainers will need to have applied for the infant toddler specialist role in PDIS. Most people have done this, but there's probably, 20% of folks who still haven't. So it would be worth a reach out to your team to just ask if folks have applied for that role so that I can be approving them. Once they're approved, then I can add them into the course. But if they're not approved, they're not going to be able to access the course. So they won't be able to access any parts of the registration if they're not approved. So let me know if there's questions on that. I better check in the chat. Nope. So next up, we have Q3 reporting due at the end of this month. If your community is not teaching a course or you are not going to use all of your coaching hours, I do need you to submit a budget revision so that we can take those funds, reallocate them in our GAE, and redistribute them. So if you didn't run a course starting in January, or you know you're not going to run a course starting right now, or you're not going to use all your coaching hours, please do include that budget revision when you submit your Q3 report to me. Let's see. If you have additional funds and you feel like, oh, this could be an allowable use of funds, reach out to me and we can talk about those requests on a case-by-case basis if you have another idea on how to use those funds. And then last, if you have any instructors who are helping with the revision process who are doing translation, so some of the Spanish speaking and Arabic speaking trainers have been helping to support translation of PowerPoints, please reach out to me so that I can make sure that they're getting paid for their time. I know that there's a few instructors who are working on that, but I'll need to add additional funds to your invoices so that we can pay for those folks to support their work. And I also wanted to let everyone know in April and May, we have a couple of training opportunities that we are going to be offering to the Infant Toddler Specialist Network trainers and coaches. The first one is Promoting First Relationships, which is going to be 4 half days in May, 1 day in June. This is a cool training that is based out of the University of Washington. It's very focused on infant and toddler attachment and cueing in, helping folks cue into infants' cues to be able to support their relationships within provider and child relationships, or family and child relationships. So we are bringing that in May 22nd, 25th, 31st, and June 1st. They're half days in the mornings from 9 to 12:30. We have room for 25 people to attend that. I have about 15 people who have let me know that they're interested. I'll put the interest form in the chat here so that you all can see that along with the flyer for that. But I just wanted to let you know that some of your EQIT trainers, coaches will be participating in that or interested in participating in that. I'm going to work things out and pay the University of Washington directly, so I don't have to add funding through the councils or things like that. But I just wanted to let you know that that's going to be coming down the pike. A few trainers have indicated that they're interested in going forward with a level 2 Promoting First Relationships. So that's a 15-week time commitment after they've taken the level 1. They get to really hone in with University of Washington mentorship, and they work on specific skills in the classroom. So I think I'll have the capability to support 3 to 5 trainers in that. Again, that will be wrapped up in the payout to University of Washington. So that won't be going through the councils, but I did want to let you all know that trainers and coaches will be partaking and are interested in that. The last piece is a face-to-face 3-day training in Colorado Springs. This is with Adam Brock and Asia Dorsey, who were 2 of our trainers who came to our statewide training in October. They're holding another training around facilitation strategies and techniques. It's called Holding Space for Transformative Experiences. So I have included and sent this out to all of the infant toddler specialist network. They're allowed to choose 2 of the 3 of these options. We'd like anyone to attend the Promoting First Relationships Level 1 training. And then I've asked folks to choose one or the other of the Level 2 or the Holding Space for Transformative Experiences, because those are more costly. So I just wanted to let you all know that that's out there. Like I said, I'll put the interest form in the chat for you to see, as well as the flyer. In this PowerPoint, there's also links to all of those things, as well as their websites. So that is all I have for updates from EQ. Let me know if there's any questions. And I'll stop sharing and add a couple of those resources in for everybody.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ava. Anyone have any other questions regarding any of the QIT updates? All right. Laura, good to see you.
Good to see you too. Good to see, I know a lot of people here. Good to see everybody. I am Laura Johnston. I am the lead quality advancement specialist at Clayton Early Learning. We have a few things going on that I'm going to talk to you about today. I don't have any slides or anything. I'm just going to give you some updates. So first, we were lucky to have been awarded a Circle grant for both Embrace as well as for training and business supports for educators. My team, the Quality Advancement team at Clayton, is in charge of the training and business support piece of this initiative. And we are providing 30 free trainings as well as 30 PASS and BASS assessments to ECE professionals around the state of Colorado and areas with populations of under 60,000 people. The trainings that we are offering as a part of this initiative are all around early childhood best practices. They are all 2 to 3 hours long, and they include our ECHRS 3 overview, our ITERS 3 overview, as well as trainings around math, free play, and non-traditional gender roles in ECE. We are hoping to train as many teachers as possible, but anyone is able to register for them. So far, we have completed 1 round of all 5 of those trainings, and our next round of the 5 trainings is taking place in Morgan County next weekend. Then after that, we will be facilitating all of these trainings in El Paso County in April, in Alamosa and Garfield counties in May, and then La Plata County in June. We do still have a lot of spots open for all of these trainings. So if you are in any of those areas and you are interested in taking any of these trainings, I'm going to put a link in chat to our website where you will find more information about the grant, the trainings, as well as the registration links for each location. So let me put that in real quick. There's that. For the PASS and BASS assessments, we have filled up all 30 slots for our grant. But these are formal assessments that will help child care centers and family home providers identify strengths as well as target areas for improvement in their business practices within their programs. And they can also use these assessments towards points for the Colorado Shines ratings. So if you are not able to take advantage of these free opportunities through our Circle grant, but are interested in any of them, we do offer all of these on a case-by-case basis and would be happy to chat with you about your needs. So I'm going to put another link in chat. This is just a link to our service request form if you are interested in having any of those done. And then I have 2 quick updates not related to Circle grants. I'm just wanting to get the word out there. First, our next coaches meeting is coming up soon. It will be from 8:30 a.m. to 12 o'clock p.m. on June 2nd. So watch out for the agenda and registration information coming soon to our website. And second, we will also have another exciting training opportunity for educators. It will be 3 back-to-back days in August. in which educators can connect with other educators as well as receive professional development hours towards their Early Childhood Credential 3.0 on quality classroom practices, using classroom data, and then mindfulness for educators. So we'll have a lot more information coming out about that soon as well. But feel free to reach out with me with any questions you have about any of these things or really anything related to ERS. My email is in the agenda, but I will also post that in chat as well. So just a few quick updates, but that's about it.
Laura, there's a question. What is the cost for Pass and Mass?
It's kind of different for each program based on size and location. So that's something you'll find out when you fill out that service request, and we'll get in touch with you and talk you through that. Is that it?
Any other questions for Laura? All right, this is awesome. Traveling around and training. What could be more fun? Very cool. And I'm putting the links into our agenda to register and for the service request, if you do want to request any of those services. All right. We have a guest speaker here. Isabel, are you on?
Hi, I'm here. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Can you hear me and see me?
Yes. Yeah. If you want to introduce yourself real quick, and then I know I'm presenting your slides for you.
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Isabel Dixon. I'm the Economic Mobility Program Manager at CDPHE, and I'm excited to be here to talk about connecting more Coloradans and early childhood educators to tax credits and some simple and specific ways to do that.
All right, I'll go ahead and share your presentation. And Isabel asked if folks on here were familiar with the EC tax credit. I said, probably, for the most part.
That's great. It's new, so I think we're all adjusting and trying to help get the word out about it. So I'll talk a little bit about that today. So yeah, just going to cover how tax credits work for this tax season in 2023. And how important it is for community partners like early childhood councils and the providers you work with. What an important role there is for you in connecting families to tax credits and money they might be missing out on. And I know that some of you or your staff may have been referring families and early childhood educators to tax info for a while, and others may be new to the tax landscape. But really, if there's just anything you take away from today, it's that your partner providers and your staff, it's not necessary to know anything about the specific tax code to quickly refer folks to tax filing. So next slide, please. This is just a quick overview. I'm going to talk about what credits are, just a quick level setting there and why they matter. What's changed for 2023, a little bit about the early childhood educator credit, what free tax filing options are available, and how to quickly refer people to those options, and as well as some common concerns that families have about filing typically. Next slide, please. So quick review here. What is a tax credit? It's basically money back that we might be eligible for when we file our taxes, depending on different life situations like being in college, having a job, having kids. And if the credits are refundable, that means they can come back to the family as a check or deposit in their bank account. Not everyone has to file taxes because some people don't earn enough, for example, to owe tax, but many people who don't have to file really should, so that they can get money back, such as withholding if they had any earnings last year. Next slide, please. Why do those of us who support families care about tax credits, and why do we care at the health department, or if we work with families? Put very simply, tax credits reduce poverty and improve long-term health and educational outcomes. And also we know that it's getting really expensive to live in Colorado. SNAP allotments have ended, and many community members and early childhood educators are struggling to meet their basic needs. Specifically, we know that tax credits are associated with fewer ACEs, reduced parental stress, reduced infant mortality, and improved long-term educational outcomes, even across generations. Next slide, please. So this slide places tax credits, refundable tax credits, in context with other programs that we're potentially more accustomed to referring families to. We can see here that refundable tax credits kept almost 8 million out of poverty. Refunds are flexible. Families can spend the money how they see fit. And in the case of the expanded child tax credit, federal child tax credit, we have some Census Bureau research that shows that among low-income households who received the child tax credit, almost 90% spent the payments on basic necessities, things like food and rent, clothing, utility bills. That's according to the Center for Budget and Policy Priorities. Next slide, please. So unfortunately, millions of dollars are left on the table in unclaimed credits. There are many reasons why people don't file. Colorado is one of the lowest in tax credit claims, in earned income tax credit claims, which we can kind of use as a proxy for other credits. 1 in 4 of those eligible for the EITC in Colorado don't claim it, and this credit alone can be worth up to $7,000 depending on how many children the filer has. And again, often people just don't realize that they are eligible for these credits and that they can file and potentially get payments. This campaign is really focused on people who are missing out, and some of these are very low-income families, new parents who may have had a baby last year and don't realize that they're eligible for the child tax credit, caregivers who have a child living with them for 6 months or more in a year, newcomer populations, non-English speaking communities, and rural families. Next slide. So I almost want to hide this slide because it's not necessary to know any of this, but I'll just touch on a few changes for 2023. The important part is just refer families to the pros or early childhood educators to the pros so that they can get the tax credits that they're eligible for. But the expanded federal credit did end this year. It reverted back to $2,000 reduction in tax liability, which means up to $1,500 as a refundable credit. There is a state child tax credit. That's exciting. It's filling the gap. It's refundable. It's only for children under 6. The old one, the federal, is for children under 17. People can still claim that expanded federal tax credit all the way back to tax year 2019. They can file late and still get that credit. The earned income tax credit, we have a state match. That's pretty exciting. And then the Tabor rebate, which many of you may have received. The important thing to remember about that is that the deadline has passed. You can't file your taxes this spring and go back in time and get the Colorado cashback or Tabor rebate. However, it's very important to help people understand that they need to file a state return this spring so that if there is another Tabor tax rebate, they can get it automatically without scrambling around and trying to figure out how to file taxes in the fall. Next slide, please. And then sounds like many of you are already familiar with the very exciting and new early childhood educator credit. This credit is up to $1,500, between $750 and $1,500 as a refundable credit. You can see the income limits there. Filers must hold a credential. They must be credentialed child care professionals. That can be from either CDE or CDEC. Or they can be employed by an eligible program. And again, you must file a state Department of Revenue tax return, and there's a special form that goes along with that. And I'm just going to chat in a link here to the specifics on that credit. And then we've developed some messaging. This is vetted by the Department of Revenue, so you can feel confident in the information. This is some messaging that can help get the word out. There's a social media piece there and a newsletter or email content that you can just drop in to help get the word out to early childhood educators. Next slide, please. So how exactly to connect families? What should educators say or navigators say? What should they ask families? It's very simple. It's really just, do you file taxes? You can ask if they have children, if they've heard of the child tax credit, but there's really no need to get into anything complicated about eligibility or individual tax situations. It's perfectly fine to say, and I say all the time myself, I am not a tax expert. Please talk to the professionals at a VITA or volunteer income tax assistance site, or worst case scenario at a paid preparer, because it's better to file there than not at all. But paid preparers do take a cut typically of the refund. You can share information that directs to the Get Ahead Colorado website. This is an example of what our website looks like. This is kind of what we're referring to, and it provides 3 options for free tax filing. That's the goal, to help people file their taxes for free. People can link to a list of VITA sites or volunteer income tax assistance sites. There's also a virtual filing option there where you have assistance to upload your documents and file with individual help. And there's do it yourself. That's our most popular option with My Free Taxes, which is provided by the United Way. Next slide, please. Oh, and I just want to mention too, you can also refer people to 211 or Colorado Peak. That also has links back to free tax filing, and that can sometimes be easier to just cite 211. VITAs are statewide volunteer income tax assistance sites. They are IRS trained volunteers. The eligibility for a VITA site is $60,000 or less, but they really don't turn anyone away. They're lovely and just want to help people get their money. Some sites require an appointment. Other sites are okay with walk-ins and just serve first come, first serve. Appointments tend to fill up early in tax season, but sometimes people cancel or don't show up. So it's worth connecting people to VITA sites, and their capacity is limited, and we hope to help them through some funding opportunities increase their capacity around Colorado. Next slide, please. So families often have sort of common concerns or myths that prevent them from engaging with the IRS or the Department of Revenue and filing their taxes. Typically, people can worry that they might fall off the benefits cliff, that they will no longer be eligible for SNAP, TANF, Medicaid, CCAP, or housing subsidies if they get a big tax refund, and that's not the case. It's not counted. Tax refunds are not counted as taxable income. No earnings or job is needed for some credits. You can use a tax ID number or ITIN number if you don't have a social security number for some credits. And it does not affect immigration status to file taxes under this administration because the Department of Revenue and the IRS do not share information with other agencies. Next slide, please. And these are just kind of the 3 top questions that people ask, you know, when is the deadline? I do want to call out with that deadline, that's April 18th this year, that people who don't owe tax don't really have this deadline. And that's because if you file late and you don't owe tax, there's no penalty. So you can actually encourage families to file or late file all the way through October and all the way back 3 years, in fact. So another common question is about W-2s. They should get them from their employer, and if that's not working out for whatever reason, from the IRS. And then custody comes up a lot. And again, it's best to refer to a professional or a VITA site to sort anything like that out. But typically, the child tax credit goes to the caregiver where the child lived for 6 months or more per year. And if it's half and half, typically caregivers alternate years. The IRS can adjudicate any disputes around that. They have a process for that. Next slide, please. This is just a clip of our partner toolkit, which has all kinds of free resources for programs to use, providers to use in whatever way they see fit to get the word out. There are printable flyers there with QR codes that can be hung up, and passersby can just scan them with their phones to get more information. There is a tax document checklist that says what documents are needed to file, and that's in, I think, 15 languages now or something. We have videos, short videos promoting tax filing in 11 languages. Email and newsletter content is there as well. Next slide, please. And this is just a slide with some examples of what our messaging looks like, our social media. and our flyers. We do have a media plan going on right now that's getting the word out through long form TV ads, paid search, digital ads, and radio. And the radio ads are specifically concentrated in rural areas to reach folks who are driving a lot during the day. So that's all I have, and I'm happy to take questions if there are any. And of course, we would always like to have feedback on the campaign, especially the partner toolkit. If there are certain types of communications that you would be able to use and that you might see lacking in what we have. Okay, with the early childhood educator credit, do we think coaches or other professionals that are not employed by a program will eventually qualify for this? Yes, that's a good question. One thing I'm happy to report is the Department of Revenue is really in contact with CDEC about this and about making sure that their information is correct on the DOR website about credentialing. So I can't really speak to if the requirements would change, but I think there is a line of communication that even could be strengthened between the two agencies to let Department of Revenue know what might be most useful or advantageous to make, as many people be able to claim the credit as possible. The Department of Revenue has been lovely in this shared effort. They share data with us when they can, vet our messaging, and just in general want to see more Coloradans claim credits. They're not the scary faceless organization that I feared. They've been just wonderful partners in this effort.
Any other questions or comments or? All right.
Feel free to reach out if you do have any time. And thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you, Isabel. We've gotten so much positive feedback about the tax credit, and it's just one of those ways that we can really concretely show our appreciation to early childhood providers. So thanks for all the work you've done on making it as seamless as possible for our community here.
Thank you.
And this presentation is in the agenda, so feel free to share it out, or we can share it out, right? To providers who might need support with tax credits or anything like that. All right. And it looks like we're still a little bit ahead of schedule, but that's great. Maybe we'll give you a few minutes back. We still have our favorite update, E&E. And I know you're there, Emily. There you are. Cool.
So Stanley's here. Okay, I'm going to do my E&E update and then I'll hang out. I'll get you set up.
Hi, Stanley.
Yeah, Stanley's like, I want to say, wow, people. Okay, it's great to see you all. I'm really happy to report that we closed the first round of E&E applications on March 3rd. We have 230 applications that we're going through. We've been able to make some eligibility determinations on hopefully, well, I thought it was a little higher than we were at because we had a glitch with one of our colleagues in licensing, but we've worked through that. So we're doing the full reviews of the applications that came in. I can show you on Salesforce the high-level overview of where we're at, so just give me a moment. And you can see the trusty bar graph here. So what you'll see is that received status is really, we've received it. Once licensing reviews an application, it goes into under review. And then after that, me or my team look at it and then figure out the next steps. A lot of these applications need a little more information before an eligibility determination can be made. I know you guys are seeing the amount that was requested and freaking out. Maybe, please don't freak out about the second round. And I can tell you from our experience last time that a lot of the applications last time weren't necessarily eligible for various reasons. So at this point, I don't see a huge concern about having enough funding. And if that starts to look that way, believe me, I'll tell you as soon as I know. you'll get as much information as soon as possible, and as quickly as possible. So if a program, and I know we've talked about this, but if a program is deemed ineligible, whether it's for a licensing reason or another reason, we typically ask either the licensing specialist or the council to reach back to that program and let them know why. If it's because of a licensing reason, then we think it makes most sense for a licensing specialist to make that have that conversation. If it's because, like, we've been running across applications where they're not actually requesting an increase in slots and they don't understand the program, right, or what it is, then we typically ask the council to do that reach back, because then hopefully they can connect with other resources or engage them, have another opportunity to have another conversation with a provider who maybe has been reluctant to engage in the past. The typical reasons programs are ineligible right now, the biggest one is that they're not opening full-time slots. And so I've even had a home provider that's was having a preschool set of preschoolers in the morning and a set of preschoolers in the afternoon. And so she applied for E&E and she wasn't eligible because she's not providing full-time care for the kids. So that's the biggest reason that folks aren't eligible. And so that's why when I also say these under review applications, if it's for folks that are expanding part-time preschool slots, this isn't a grant that can support them at this time. So those are sometimes really hard conversations to have. I want to recognize that, particularly with the advent of UPK and people wanting to increase their capacity in that regard. And really the focus of E&E is to, number one, expand infant toddler slots and to provide child care for people who need full-time child care. So that's why that eligibility criteria is in place. And if you always feel free to refer back to the FAQ, because that's where that definition of full-time slots is. And there's a lot of great information there and resources there for providers, for you all, and for partners who are looking at this grant. We're planning on opening our second round in mid-spring to early summer. The way I think it's happening, see it happening now, is it's looking more towards summer than late spring, just because we want to make sure that we understand what's happening with the legislature in terms of whether we'll have a longer spend down period for this grant or not. And we want to make as many eligibility determinations as possible so we can increase the council base funding by 10% of those eligible programs and start that contract amendment process. So those are the two big factors that are driving the timing of the second round. So if you've had folks that haven't applied the first round and are getting ready to apply for the second round, great. Yeah, can help them get prepared. The other thing that we've been asking to be uploaded into Salesforce when you have it is for those capital projects that tend to be more construction oriented or renovation oriented or new building oriented, we need that. We really need that copy of liability insurance uploaded. If there's any permits, when those permits are pulled, uploading them to Salesforce. And then also any sort of licensing, even if it's just like this, we know, for example, I think it's Brighton requires everybody operating a business in Brighton be licensed in Brighton. And so if that's that kind of license and that's been done, then ideally if there's documentation of that's uploaded. And if those things aren't required, to also just note that in Salesforce so that it's really clear. And the reason is when we get a CORA request, which is a Colorado Open Records Act request about any of these grants, Salesforce is the first place we go to get information to share with those CORA requesters. And so similarly, when there's some sort of audit or overview or something like that along with this program, again, if it's in Salesforce, it's really easy for us as the department and to provide the information that's requested. So I'm happy to see all of you that are coming to the office hours. I think we have a really warm and welcoming group. So if you ever want to come hang out and listen, even if you don't have a question at that time, I have folks that do that regularly, and it's been great. I think they're able to participate. It triggers other questions for them. And of course, you know, I love seeing you. So you're welcome to do that. They're twice a week. Mondays and Wednesdays. And if you want me to add you directly to the calendar invite, just send me an email and I'll do that. And then the other piece is I've added to my signature line the form I originally created to let me know when you think a program's ready for review for an eligibility determination, that all the documentation's uploaded, or if it's a program that you've reviewed and you think you recommend it being either ineligible or withdrawn, you can also mark that there. And if you want to talk to me about it, there's a space there. You can use that form. It's nice because it creates a little spreadsheet for me. You can also email me. So I just want you to know that that's there. And I typically spend Thursdays just trying to get through those applications. And for those of you who were on my call yesterday, I just started going through all of yours, and I don't know if I'll be able to make it before our meeting on Monday, but I'm doing my very, very best. The review crew, I've changed their name. They used to be the E&E review crew, which is kind of cool and fun, but I started calling our work group the E&E eligibility determination group, because that's what we do. So every one of these applications where it's not clearly ineligible, i.e. they're not increasing slots, we meet and determine their eligibility that way, or the questions that we have from that space. And that group comprises of licensing and then our quality team, members of our quality unit. And we look at it from both of those lenses and then go from there. So I really like this process because as the program manager, it's really nice to not have the whole weight of the eligibility fall on my shoulders. And the different perspectives and questions that people in that group bring to it is really helpful for me. So, and for all of you and for our programs, I think it benefits everybody. So with that, that's my super high level update. I just want to take a moment and also say that I appreciate you all so much, because I know what it's like to have a simple thing like my floors redone and how stressful that is for me to track down and keep track of. And you are supporting people who are doing this to their homes or in their centers. And you're doing multiple of these projects, trying to support people through this whole process. And I want you to know that I see you and I appreciate you, and we're all in this together. So we'll figure it out and continue to kick booty like we did last year. So if there are questions that you all have, please let me know. I'm happy to answer them now, and you can also set up a time to connect with me if you're not comfortable bringing it to office hours. I also have actually Heather Soderberg was the first one to set an appointment on my calendar using the thing like Want to Connect, and Karen Thiel, I actually fixed it so it works, because I know you tried using it and you're like, hey, wait, this doesn't work. So I'm trying to keep my calendar updated. They're little 30, 25-minute appointments. So if there's a situation that you really want to talk through before you figure out those next steps, I'm happy to do that. We do have some of those places around like, they asked for this in their budget, and I'm not sure that this is the best thing, or this is what this program needs for this expansion. And those conversations, I think, are easier to have in person. And we've also had them at office hours. And I think, it's either space is appropriate for it. So, yeah. So what questions do you have? Or how can I support you? Or what tool do you need besides a magic wand? Oh, last thing. Oh, really cool. The RFP for TA for all of these fun questions we have around licensing and inspections and all that is out right now, and it's posted. So if you take a look at that RFA and there's someone in your life that you know that you think would be a bang up job with this, send them to the RFP and see if it's a match for them. So we're hoping, I think the posted the week before last, so it'll close in early April, and then we'll review the proposals we received and go from there. So help is on the way with all of these really fun construction things. Maybe, you know, you all are becoming like independent construction consultants, or, you know, small construction consultants too. So thank you for learning all this with me.
Yes, we are a field that wears many hats.
Yes, that you didn't even anticipate, right? So
Cool. Any other E&E questions for Emily?
I know some of you can't see those ones that where the license isn't open, but they've applied. So I'm going to circle back with Dorothy on that and see if she can see where those stand. So I've received those emails, and I'm partnering with Dorothy, and I just haven't sent her the email yet. She's very, very responsive to us. So I'll ask her where some of that is or what's going on there. So
Yeah. And normally in those cases, we can just assign you to that program. So you
yeah,
can view it.
you can view them. It's hard because I don't think you can make notes, but I think you can upload things. So if you need help with all that, let us know. If you need to add notes, and if you put it in an email to me and your coordinator, we can just copy and paste it in the notes section, and we'll do it until they're open, and then we'll go from there.
All right. And a very successful round one of E&E to be continued, and so grateful for you jumping on and doing all this, Emily.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Anything to get to hang out with you all, I'll do it.
Anything to talk building walls and construction and flooring and fun stuff like that. Cool. Well, gang, any last minute thoughts, questions, comments? I think I'm like getting ahead of myself because we're never done early. Construction groupie. Don't mind them. All right, gang. Well, it is a pleasure to see everybody. It has been a crazy start to the year. I think we all are kind of feeling that. So please make sure to take care of yourself. Maybe that's what I'll say. We're going to save these last 20 minutes for you to get some serious self-care in. Go take care of yourself. Go put on your jacket and take a walk, or throw a ball for your dog or something like that. Kelly, do you have a question? Oh, no, she meant to send a heart. Thanks. We appreciate you all so much. Thanks for attending the State TA Day. I'll be sending the follow-up materials as always. Karen says, thanks for redoing your budgets. Terrible timing, but hope you enjoyed those extra funds, and have a wonderful rest of your day and a wonderful weekend. I will stop the recording now.